Well, I pretty much remember the whole crash, but I don't remember bits and pieces of the hospital and stuff.
When did you, who were you riding with that day?
One of my friends, his name is Jace Lewis.
So you and Jace were out practicing. How long had you been out practicing?
Well, I think we rode 3 20-minute motos, and we were going out to play ride, but I jumped out in front of him and started riding hard, so he started riding hard too, because Jason liked for me to be out in front of him, so when about halfway through the moto, he got around me, and probably my crash was 15 minutes into it, but
Tell me a little bit about the crash. How did it happen, and where did it happen on the track?
well, it happened after the big finish line coming down the next big hill, but the track was a lot different then. The hill was so steep that you couldn't walk up it and stuff, so when I came over the tabletop, my bike locked up and threw me over the bars, and I landed on my head, and the bike landed on me, and then I rolled the rest of the way down the hill.
What happened? When did you first realize that you were hurt really bad?
When they put me on the backboard and my arm fell off, and Dad told me to pick it up and I couldn't.
Then what happened? They transported you to Auburn, is that right?
Opelika?
Yeah.
Transported me to Opelika.
When you first developed ARDS and your lungs weren't doing good at all, and when you first developed ARDS and your lungs weren't doing good, and you were having these episodes when your heart would stop, the doctors met with your mom and your dad. Dr. Rios and I were in there, and they talked to Johnny about making the decision whether to continue life support, and your dad made a very strong and brave decision that you had a lot of fight left in you. How do you feel about that decision?
Well, me and my dad have always been really close and best friends pretty much, so I would trust his decision as well as anybody's, because we've always been right there together, so he knows just as well as how much fight I have in me. He probably knows better than I do how strong I am and stuff, because I think he believes in me more than I believe in myself.
In order to help you overcome the ARDS, they had to put you in a medically induced coma where you were out for quite a long time. Do you remember anything during that period of time when you were out? Do you remember dreaming, or do you remember anything from the time you were in a coma during the ARDS?
No.
When they brought you out of the coma, did you have any sense how long you'd been out or what you'd been through all that time?
I didn't know any of it until Dad started telling me stories and stuff.
So you didn't know you'd been out for months? And
no, I woke up and I thought it was the next day or whatever.
Johnny, what was the scariest moment when you were at UAB?
I was standing next to him, I know 3 times when his heart stopped. You know, they never had to do with the defibrillator, if that's the right word.
Right.
You know, they were always able to give him some adrenaline, more or less, to get him started back. But seeing that and being there when that happened was definitely the scariest thing. His heart stopped 10 times. You just never know. It didn't have to start back.
It's last year on Father's Day, I think we sat out at McAllister's out on the sidewalk with your dad while we were still wondering what was going to happen and when you were going to come out of the coma and all of those kind of things. This year you're with your dad and you're still here because of that decision he made. Anything you want to say to your dad on Father's Day a year later?
That I appreciate his decision, and he was the only one that really believed that I was still there, because we were so close that he was the only one that I would really communicate with at that time. So, just happy Father's Day.
Chase, you had thousands, literally, of people from Alabama, Georgia, Washington State, Delaware, you name it. You've had people following, and just people from everywhere praying for you, following your story, people that believed in you. Anything you want to say to all these folks that have just literally followed you day to day since your accident?
I'd just like to say thank you, basically, because I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for all the prayers and all everybody with all the hope, and they just gave me, even though I couldn't see them or read their emails, God told me there was a bunch of people praying for me, and He just gave me the determination and the willpower to go on and fight everything I went through.